Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Anna. For those of you who are new here, hi. I do that a lot. Welcome. I'm constantly dropping and knocking things over here on this channel, so if you're clumsy like me, let's be friends. Pixi has recently sent over some new products that I'm actually really excited about, and the main thing that I'm extremely excited about are our new face palettes. Now I'm gonna go over in depth swatching them side by side so you can see the difference in colors, so you can see if one is good for you or not good for you. They also sent over an eyeshadow palette, which I will be demoing today as well. There's two. I have already started testing one downstairs. I used it the other day. My son's napping in my room and I don't want to disturb him, so I'm not going to go into my room to go get it right now. Otherwise, I will have a very angry 2-year-old and I won't be able to film this video. Only one I'm demoing today is the Rosette Ray palette, which is what I have on today. It's very beautiful, very rosy, and honestly, this is probably the one that I'm the most into myself and probably would have used anyways. But the other one is called Hazelnut Haze, and it is very pretty too. That one's more of your regular types of neutrals and this one's more of your rosy toned. I actually have swatches of the Hazelnut Haze on my Instagram, which is For the Love of Glitter. So if you're into swatches, you want to see what colors you're going to actually be getting from a company, go check out my Instagram. That's why I do it. I really believe that swatches are good, not to show how shadows perform. I've never thought it was good for that. It kind of gives you a slight idea, but in reality, I want to see what the colors look like. I want to see what they look like on skin. I don't care if they're on your eyes. I just want to see what they look like out of the pan. Because 9 times out of 10, a shadow, how it appears in pan, does not look the same on the skin. And I also enjoy seeing all those little tiny glitters up close and personal because they're not all the same color, and I want you to show me why I'm buying this palette that has colors that in the pan look identical to the 50 billion other palettes that I own. You know what I'm saying? So if you're into that kind of thing, follow me at For the Love of Glitter. I do a lot of product shots, I do a lot of videos, stuff like that. Let's get into the demo. First up, we have the eyeshadow palette. It's called Rosette Ray. This is $22. When I heard it was $22, I was like, wow, that's pretty expensive for a drugstore. It does have a mirror and it is all touched up because, you know, I touch it. And here are the shades. It is a 9pan palette. The mattes in here are incredible. The shimmers are not my favorite because they are not intense the way I like my shimmers to be. I prefer really intense, in your face, blinding shimmers, and these aren't them. They are pretty. You can build them up. I suggest using them wet or with a glitter glue. I will demo this. And the mattes though are incredible. I don't think they could have made them really any better. I think the mattes are phenomenal. I think we're gonna try this out first and then we'll get into what I'm really excited about. I don't even think I'm gonna use a primer. We're going to go for a very subtle look. I don't want to do anything crazy today. It's raining outside. There's nothing really awesome going on. So I'm going into the shade right here. They do have names on the back, but there's not a lot of kickback, which is really nice. And I really appreciate. And I feel like these shadows are really easy to build up as well. Based off of using the other palette the other day, I think I'm really gonna like this one a lot more because these tones are more up my alley. I just really like the rosiness to it. Next, I'm gonna go into the shade right underneath it. Again, not trying to do anything too crazy. These mattes are so incredibly soft, very user-friendly, I feel like. Again, I don't even have a primer on. I don't know why I tried it without a primer yesterday too. I think it's because I feel like they stick on their own really well. Like they don't need like anything sticky and they just blend out pretty flawlessly actually. I think when you look at them in pan they don't look that exciting, but they're actually a really good formula. You might go into this very deep one just for the outer corner a little bit, nothing too crazy. I actually really yeah, I like this one. The other one performed just as well, but color wise I like this one more. This palette really takes no effort at all. I didn't put on a primer. I didn't have to work anything crazy. It honestly just works really good. At first I was kind of like, $22 for this? that's, you know, that's a little expensive. That's getting a little bit more high end. But honestly, the formula is really nice. So I can understand it more now. The formula is very, very nice. We're going to try the shimmers. Like I said, the shimmers usually aren't my favorite because they're a little bit more subtle and I like very intense pop, which I know that's not for everyone, and that's fine. We're going to just do the lightest gold shade right here. And we're going to try it on a not wet brush first. And yeah, it kind of just dusted like this one almost looked like a toppery shade. I'm gonna have to wet my brush for this one to really, I don't know, this one is honestly more just like a toppery shimmery type of look. Let's try the finger. Finger works best if you want more intense background. So they're just not my favorite. I'm gonna take the white and put it on my inner corner because that one's very pretty. I might try and use one of the highlighters on there. I don't know. I'm gonna put on my eyeliner and mascara. Overall, I'm pretty pleased with this palette. I feel like this would be a great everyday neutral natural look if that's what you're going for. I think that the mattes are the star of the show. They perform pretty perfectly. They perform with no issues at all. These shimmers do take a little bit more work. I feel like you either need to use them wet or with your finger at least. And even then, they're just not the most intense shimmers you'll ever see in your life. Once you put it on the lid, they kind of become a lot more subtle, which might be nice for those people who don't really want their eye look to be the star of the show. I know there's some people who don't love sparkly, super shimmery, intense shadows like I do, but those are where my heart is at. So the shimmers aren't my favorite in this just because they are a lot more subdued, and yeah, so that's my thoughts on that. Let's get into what I am extremely excited about. Okay. Getting into the face palettes, we have two, and these are $16 each. And I mean, honestly, this is the product that if I hadn't been sent these, I would have been intrigued anyways to buy with my own money, because it all started with the Pixi by Petra highlighters. I loved that formula so much. I think that's honestly what really made them so popular. So there are two. There is Sugar Blossom, which is for your deeper, darker skin tones. I think the blush and the highlighters would work for any skin tone, no matter how deep you are. The bronzer, however, can we just make some really extra deep dark bronzers across the board in every single every brand? Can every brand just please agree to make some really deep dark bronzers? Like, if you're gonna come out with these, like, make a third one that's really deep, because there's people out there who are really deep, and I think we're all kind of aware of it now, and I think it's important for us to express our concerns for our fellow makeup lovers who do have really deep skin tone. So even though I don't have deep skin tone, I'm still gonna talk about it, because I think we need to bring not only awareness, but I think we need to let all the companies know that we see what's going on, and we really want our deep dark skin tone friends to have great makeup too, because they deserve it. But anyways, this one is the deeper one, and it is called Sugar Blossom. I did use this blush today. Here's the highlighter, the bronzer, and the highlighter. See, here's the thing. Even though I'm not deep dark skin tone, and this is the deepest one, I will still be able to utilize all these shades some way or another. I actually used this blush today, this highlighter. Yeah, this highlighter is deeper, but I used it on my eyes. This bronzer, it's definitely more red tone, and the pinkier champagne type of highlighter is beautiful, but it is a little bit too deep for my skin tone. I definitely would recommend this palette if you have medium to a deeper skin tone. And I think even if you do have deep dark skin though, I think that this blush and the highlighter still would work. It's just the bronzer that I'm a little iffy about, but you know, I don't have deep dark skin, so maybe I could be wrong. I'm so sorry. My fingernails are disgusting. So here are those shades, very pretty. Next one would work for, I want to say light to medium, but honestly, this next one is called Honey Nectar. This is the one that I mainly used for the, I didn't use the blush today, but the blush looks really pretty. I used the highlighters and the bronzer, And here we go. I think these highlighters suit my skin tone more. There is quite a difference like in the shade of blush in this one, and the highlighters work better for lighter skin tones. This one honestly turned up. The pinky gold one looks more gold. It kind of blends into the blush. Sorry, I've already like swatched a bunch. So there we go. This highlighter from the palette kind of gives me NARS Orgasm-y vibe. So does the blush. Like just the mixture of the two give me NARS Orgasm-y type of vibes, because the blush does have like a subtle, like I can't see it in my swatch even, but it does have a subtle shimmer to it, like ever so slightly, I think. And then especially, or you could even just put this down and then top this on top to give it kind of that NARS Orgasm effect. And this is just a pretty gold highlighter. And yeah, so I'm gonna swatch them side by side so you can see the differences in the blushes, because I think it's just really important to do this, especially with this one. So the blush from the Honey Nectar, the lighter palette, is a more shimmery type of NARS Orgasm-y type of color. And in the deeper palette called, what's this one called again? Sugar Blossom, is more of a satiny pink. So in the Nectar one, you get kind of that, a little hint of shimmer reflect, and then in the other one it's just like a deeper, more intense pink. The bronzers are also different. The Honey Nectar is a little bit lighter, cool toned, and the one in the Blossom one is more red toned. So here is the Nectar one, the lighter one, and here is the Blossom one. It's a lot more red toned. And I feel like normally if you're more certain tan, darker, deeper skin tones, red tones sometimes work better. I'm not sure, I don't have a deeper skin tone, so I can't really tell you. Up at the top we have the gold in the Sweet Nectar, and this more bronzy type of shade in the other one. So here's the Sweet Nectar, and here is the other one. It does have more pink in it. And last but not least, these two highlighters are so different. In the Sweet Nectar one, it kind of is like the matching highlighter to the blush, because it is like that pink to gold reflect, and then the one in the darker one is more of a pink champagne type of color right here. So there's the Sweet Nectar one, and here is the other one. I think we're mainly going to focus on using Honey Nectar just because I think it suits my skin tone better. I think we might use some from the Sugar Blossom to try on the eyes just to add some more shimmer, see if that would help brighten it up. So I'm going to go into the bronzer. These have the same texture as the matte eyeshadows, just really soft. So I'm really curious to see how these work. I've never used a bronzer from Pixi. I feel like it's kind of sticking a little bit in just certain areas, but blending in others. Sometimes I feel like you kind of have to wait till you have your whole face together really to see if you like a bronzer or a contour. Because sometimes like you'll just have the contour and you're like, that looks really muddy or really weird, and then once you start putting everything else on there, it looks fine. So just, it's kind of like matte eyeshadows too. Have you ever had like a really patchy eyeshadow and then you put the shimmers on and then you're like, well, the look turned out fine still anyways. I think it's going on pretty smooth. It is having a harder time blending out. I did powder today too, but I will say it's very humid today. Even though I'm inside, it's hot up here. I might need to turn my fan on because I'm like starting to sweat. I don't think the color is a bad color. I am looking in the monitor because sometimes it looks different in the monitor. When I look at it in person, it looks fine. I don't think there's anything mind-blowing about this, although I will say if you like that bronzer from, that pineapple bronzer from Too Faced, it's very slick and very, it's just a very nice formula. I feel like this is actually pretty similar in how slick it is, I guess, and there's no kick up whatsoever. It kind of just melts into the skin. I might try the blush from the Sugar Blossom. It does seem like a little bit more pigmented, so we'll go in very light-handed. And it is, because I barely tapped that into it, and These powders are so nice though because they aren't powdery. They just are not powdery at all. Like it doesn't look like I'm adding extra powder products on top of my skin. These are really nice. These are very, very nice. Since we're in the Sugar Blossom, I think we're gonna take some of this gold color and just try and pack it on the lids to see if we can get that a little bit more shiny. I'm gonna put my eyeliner back on because, yeah, definitely more shiny than the shimmers in the palette. So, like, if they made their shimmers like they did their highlighters, I think I would like their palettes a lot more for their, just overall. I think it would get like a 10 out of 10 for me. Back into the Honey Nectar. I think the Honey Nectar is honestly my favorite. Obviously for my skin tone, it's a little bit more easy to wear. I think I'm gonna try going into the pink one first and we'll see what happens. I'll zoom you guys in a little bit. Sure, we're gonna tap some on. I feel like a lot of the gold is mainly just kind of showing through. I do see a little bit of the pink, but really you can just see a lot of the gold. It looks very nice, and again, it doesn't look too powdery. This one might have the teeniest, tiniest. You might be able to see some of the flecks of the gold. They look a little bit more glittery. Not horribly glittery, but I can see some little flecks of shimmers in there that are a little bit bigger. We're gonna try going into the lightest gold shade. Yeah, this one, like I can see the little flecks of shimmers in it. So there might be some. But that doesn't bother me. I know that can bother other people. I'm going to put this on the inner corner to see if it brightens it up. Yes, yes, yes. I think the bronzer and the blush especially weren't powdery whatsoever. I think you can see the highlighter on the skin more. Like it doesn't melt into the skin because you can see the little flecks of tiny shimmer, but I would still use them. I do really enjoy these face palettes. I do wish they even made a deeper one. I think honestly we're in the day and age where people now are very aware that people with deeper skin tones, like there's some really deep skin tones out there, and some of these shades are just not going to cut it for them to use as a bronzer or as a contour. And I think the beauty industry is aware of that, and I think they need to show that they care enough to start creating more products that can really unite everyone. I feel like there's only a few brands that are really starting to take into consideration how deep some skin tones are, because honestly these palettes will only suit around like 4 different skin types, and then when you start getting into the deeper range, it's not gonna show up. Of course they can still use the blush and the highlighter, but I don't think it's fair that people with really deep skin tone should have to really struggle to find a shade that they can use every day, because I can go to the store and almost every single bronzer that I see on the shelf will work for me. The blush and the highlighter I think was on the right track. I think those would be great for deeper skin tones, but this bronzer, I don't know how deep it would really go, you know what I mean? But I think it's really pretty overall. I love how smooth these face palettes look on the skin. They don't even look like you have powder. The only thing that really does show up is the highlighter. You can see like a little bit of some of the sparkles on there, but for the most part everything else is so smooth and doesn't have a lot of kickback. It's almost like their mattes from their eyeshadow formula, which didn't have a lot of kickback or fallout. So the formula is really, really nice. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what your favorite product was that you saw or something that you might pick up. Again, I would have probably picked up one of these face palettes on my own anyways. I think the hardest thing would have been for me to pick a color. And now that I have both of them here, I think I would have gone with Honey Nectar just because I think it would suit my skin tone more. Of course, you can still get use out of the other one as well for eyeshadow or warming up the skin or even using the blush, because it's the blush I used today. I barely used any of the blush. I just had to do the lightest little tap. But let me know what you think down below, and you guys have a great day. Bye.